There are some terrible hyaluronic acid products out there, and there are also some that are shockingly phenomenal. But hyaluronic acid is one of those ingredients that a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people actually use it wrong. For instance, did you know that hyaluronic acid can actually dry out your skin? Yes, even though it's this humectant, meaning it grabs and holds onto water and is supposed to bring it into the skin, there are instances where it can do the opposite. And because of that, there are a lot of hyaluronic acid products, some with low molecular weight, high molecular weight. Are they hydrating? Are they soothing? Or are they irritating? And do they make you itch and dry? Well, my friends, that is an in-depth chemistry and anatomy conversation that we've actually already had in this video, which I'd highly recommend you watch. But what if you've seen that, you get it, you know, and you just want a hyaluronic acid product that works, and you also want to know about and avoid the shit ones? Well, me and my 15 little skincare friends and frenemies are going to sit here and share with you just that. The hyaluronic acids that are absolute shit. I honestly don't know how they even got these on the market. And then the ones that I think are the unsung heroes of our skincare shelves, the ones that actually deliver and do what they're supposed to. Let's start out with the horrible, with the bad, with the awful, with the itchy. This is from Catrice Cosmetics. It's their Hydro Plumping Serum, and it's 1.5% hyaluronic acid, and it's also got provitamin B5, aka panthenol. Now, I wanted to love this. The price point was right. Catrice has amazing cosmetics. They have other serums that are actually really good, but this stuff, this is the only, look at this. I can't even get it out of here because it's so gloopy. This stuff legit makes me itch. It makes my skin tingle. It makes it slightly burn. It is sticky. It is tacky, and it starts to pill up. This is one of the cheapest, lowest quality hyaluronic acids that I have ever used. And this honestly feels more like the hyaluronic acid that's actually injected into the skin. Now, this brings up a whole different conversation about the different types of hyaluronic acid. There's sodium hyaluronate, there's hyaluronic acid, there's hydrolyzed forms, you have high molecular weight, low molecular weight. What does it all mean? At the end of the day, hyaluronic acid is a humectant, so it does bind and hold to water. But as we've spoken about in other videos, if you don't have moisture in the formula itself, or if you're not using hyaluronic acid with an occlusive, instead of bringing water and putting it into the skin, it actually robs your skin of that moisture, increasing what's called transepidermal water loss, basically sucking the moisture out of your skin, which is where we wanted it in the first place. And a hyaluronic acid that's not formulated well is more prone to doing that. Now, this hyaluronic acid product actually has sodium hyaluronate. You can think of that as like the sister or the cousin of hyaluronic acid because it's the salt form. And although it's wonderful and it's in many products, it is the less expensive form, which is, I think, why they were able to make this product so cheap. But unfortunately, the price matches the quality on this one. And again, this is just so sticky. This literally makes my skin red. And what's also frustrating is that it pills up like terribly. Do you see this? It's like leaving behind goober gobbers, like boogers on my skin, and then it has fragrance in it. If it's just a basic hyaluronic acid serum, why are you putting fragrance in it? They missed the mark on this one, and I would say, personally, from my experience with this product, you are better off not using hyaluronic acid serum than going for this. It's just so bad. Now, the next hyaluronic acid that, you know, is better, but not by much, is this new one from IT Cosmetics. I wanted to love this, and IT Cosmetics has like some great brow products and mascara products, but they recently launched skincare. Now, some of their skincare is phenomenal, and some of it is just gross. This right here is the Bye Bye Lines Concentrated Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Now, given I am not at the point where I have tons of lines and wrinkles, I use prescription retinoids like Dermatica and Apostrophe, so, you know, wrinkles and fine lines are a concern for me, but they're not as bad as someone who maybe deals with that all the time. But this product is marketed towards those who need some lines to go bye-bye. It's a hyaluronic acid serum, and it's supposed to have peptides in it as well. Let me say, this just doesn't soak in. And this brings us to that conversation around hyaluronic acid and different molecular weights. Our skin is a barrier, right? And our skin wants to keep things out. So in order to get things into the skin, you have to either have things at the right charge so it can penetrate and get through, or you have to have them at a small enough molecule so they can be absorbed. And I don't know what IT Cosmetics was doing. They normally always hit the target. Like, they are a really good brand. I love the founder. I love what the brand stands for. The founder was told that, quote, nobody would buy cosmetics from a woman who looks like you. And she turned around and she basically told that man to his face, F off, by her actions. She created an amazing, successful brand. I love her for it. I think she's amazing. And a lot of their products normally are, but this was just not it. This simply does not absorb. It's kind of sticky, it's kind of tacky. It does leave the skin a little bit softer, but I just don't feel like it absorbs into my skin and it just sits on top. They have glycerin, they have some different extracts in here, and then again, they're using that salt form of hyaluronic acid, the sodium hyaluronate, but this was just not it, and I am just not a fan. What's shocking is that in their same skincare launch, they launched the Bye Pores product. This has hyaluronic acid and glycolic acid, and I actually love this one, but I think I like it because it's glycolic acid and it's like made for oily skin. It has some drying alcohol in it, so it's really good at soaking up the oil. This one was just a no-no, and I do not recommend it. The other thing that a lot of people tout about hyaluronic acid is that it's supposed to be great for dry skin. And as we mentioned in that previous video, unless you're in the right environment, unless you're in a humid environment or using hyaluronic acid with other ingredients or other products that can actually give it that moisture, it's not gonna plump up your skin, it's going to dry it out. And that's literally what happens right here. Like, my hand is itchy. Do you see how red that is? The Catrice literally makes me itch. I don't know what's going on, but this is the worst hyaluronic acid I've ever used. Again, my skin is different than yours, but holy guac, this is bad. Speaking of guac, avocado. I wanted to love this product from Yes2, and we're actually going to talk about one of the Yes2 products that shockingly I do love. But this is one of them that launched. It was at Target and CVS. I wanted to like this. It's the Yes2 Avocado Fragrance-Free Hyaluronic Acid Serum for dry skin. And I thought to myself, fantastic. Hyaluronic acid serum. We love some avocado. It's inexpensive. It's in a glass package. I am so excited for this. Well, it did not meet our expectations. This comes in almost at the very bottom of the list, which is actually shocking considering that the other avocado products from Yes2 are really good. But this serum is just not holding up to the claims. It specifically says that it has 1% hyaluronic acid and that it's supposed to hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. So many brands claim this, but honestly, that is not true. Hyaluronic acid can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water, but that's when it's in the body. And most of the time, most hyaluronic acid that you get in an actual product, it's holding maybe 50 times its weight in water, if even. And again, 50 times its weight, like, that's still really good. Hyaluronic acid is a sugar, so it really loves to hold on to that water, but it's not 1,000 times like a lot of these brands claim that it is. And hyaluronic acid, when it's in the body, it's normally in our joints, basically synovial fluid, what cushions our knees and our backs. And it's also in connective tissue and in the tissues of our body. But when it's in our bodies, it's very different than something that we're applying topically to the skin. And a lot of brands, you know, technically they're not wrong because it can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. But most of the time, it doesn't actually do that. And this Yes2 product was just a sad disappointment because even as someone who is oily and has a couple of dry patches, I just felt like this wasn't overly hydrating for my skin. This does have hyaluronic acid and avocado, so there are some nice oils in here that are supposed to make it a little bit nicer on the skin. I think that's why it's a little bit smoother, but it also has niacinamide, and I feel like any benefit that is possibly coming from this is from those other ingredients. And again, it's not the worst of the worst, but it's definitely not my favorite. And I just don't feel like this is hydrating. I don't feel like this is made for people who have those dry patches or who have dry skin. It doesn't feel like it absorbs. It does absorb better than the IT Cosmetics one, but this just missed the mark, which again, we're going to talk about what was so shocking about that based on the other products that they have in this lineup. Fun fact, I actually did a video with Morgan of the Beauty Breakdown. We were basically trying to guess which product was drugstore and which was luxury. And in that video, I spoke about how much I hate this product. And I think they took it out. I also spoke about like an eye product. They took it out, but yeah, fun fact, that happened. Another product that I legit wanted to love, but that just didn't impress me much was this one from Good Molecules. This is their hyaluronic acid serum. I love that it's in glass packaging. I love that it's made in San Francisco. It's good, but it's not great. This one is very basic. This one is fragrance free and the price is right. This is like almost what you wanted this to be, but then it wasn't. Again, it's basic, but I don't think it's revolutionary. This is one of those that if you got it, you could still use it. Like you could at least finish this bottle, whereas those other ones, you can't even finish. But at the same time, this is nothing really special. And I feel like if you really wanted to do something with this in your routine, you would have to layer this with another moisturizer, or you would want to use this alongside another active. And one of the great things about hyaluronic acid, other than the humectant properties when used properly, is that it's wound healing. And it can really help for those who are struggling with damage to the skin. This is one of those that at least it's fragrance free, and at least I feel like it follows through with that. Look at this first one. It's literally making me bleed. I should probably wash this Catrice one off, like I'm having a reaction. This one is fragrance free. It's not horrible. Yes, it's basic and it does what it say it will do, but it's not my favorite and it's not one that I'm going to purchase again. This is a drugstore disaster. Oh my God, honestly, so is CeraVe wait, the CeraVe hyaluronic acid cleanser thing. I don't know why people like that. I don't even use CeraVe because they're not cruelty free, but oh my God, the salicylic acid cleanser, fine. The hyaluronic acid products from CeraVe are so gross. I'm sorry, who likes that? I'm so sorry. I've used them on other people, okay? And just the texture, they are a drugstore disaster, but so is this. The price is right, but if this was your first introduction to hyaluronic acid, like, you wouldn't be impressed. You know what I mean? But if you are looking for drugstore options, this is when it actually starts to get good. There are a few products out there that actually do a halfway decent job. And shockingly, these are all kind of at the same price point too. The Inkey List has a hyaluronic acid, which is very basic, but it's good. e.l.f. Cosmetics has a Holy Hydration line, and they actually did a really good job with this. They have hyaluronic acid cleansers. They have like a sunscreen with an SPF 15 that I love. This is the e.l.f. Skin Hydrogel Moisturizer with hyaluronic acid and peptides. This is fantastic, especially for the price. And then Boots Ingredients also has hyaluronic acid in 3 different products. They have a serum, a moisturizer, and then this sleeping mask. The sleeping mask is personally my favorite for the way, you know, that it kind of hydrates the skin and it has humectants built in. But all of these are very comparable in both price and in how they work. Now with all of these, I don't like to use them in singularity. I would say these are best to be layered or to use with other things, but they are good enough that you don't actually have to. So if you didn't want to layer this with something else, the formula is actually really good and stable, and you could just get away with this. Now the Inkey List hyaluronic acid is decent. Is it the best in the world? No, it is a very, very liquidy one. So this is also dependent on the texture that you're looking for. But when it comes to the Inkey List, there's actually another product from them with hyaluronic acid that's brand new that I think blows this out of the park. So before spending money on this, like, there's some other better things. But this is kind of midline, halfway there. It's not bad. And if this is your first introduction, they make it really easy. The Inkey List always has these little dots on the back that kind of tell you how to build a skincare routine or how to incorporate products into your skincare routine. They also have little suns and moons to tell you that you can use this day or night. And literally every single hyaluronic acid product here, I believe you can use day or night. Hyaluronic acid, it says it's an acid, but it's not actually exfoliating. Like, it's not acidic in that way. The acid actually relates to our beautiful pH scale, our potential hydrogen or power of hydrogen, as opposed to being an exfoliating acid the way something like this glycolic acid would be. But the Inkey List makes it really easy to incorporate into your routine, and if this were your first introduction to hyaluronic acid, it's not overly pilly, but it's a little bit sticky. I would recommend layering it, but it's decent, and it's definitely the right price. When it comes to the Boots Ingredients, these are really inexpensive. They're at Target. I like all 3, but I think that the sleep mask is my personal favorite. The reason why is because of those other ingredients in there. This is actually built into a formula that contains water and glycerin, and I find it to be much more soothing on the skin. And it has 2 different forms of sodium hyaluronate. It has sodium hyaluronate and sodium hyaluronate cross polymer. And because of the other ingredients in here, it's a much more silky application. It's not sticky. It actually hydrates the skin because that moisture is being pulled from the other ingredients in this product. And for the price, it's inexpensive. It's good. And if you want like an inexpensive sleeping mask, I like this one. The e.l.f. Holy Hydration, a lot of the products from this line are bomb diggity. Now, unfortunately, I believe this does contain fragrance. Yeah, this does, but this is a really good one. This one is super soothing. It comes out this nice ribbony texture, and this is the first, you know, more of a cream formula that really makes it onto this list. This does have jojoba and peptides, and again, whenever you're mixing hyaluronic acid in with other products, you may be seeing the actual effect on your skin from those other products, like those peptides. Maybe that's why I like it a little bit more. But overall, this is a really good choice if you're looking to put hyaluronic acid into your routine and you're insecure about mixing or layering. And you look at the Inkey List and you're like, okay, I know where I'm going to put this in my routine, but I'm still a little bit worried about how to layer it. e.l.f. Cosmetics kind of does that for you. I wouldn't be mixing this or layering this with a lot of other products. I feel like this kind of stands on its own, but this is a great one. And so is their sunscreen. They have a Holy Hydration sunscreen that is also bomb diggity. But there are things that are better. And we are not talking Neutrogena. I know that everyone loves the Neutrogena Hydro Boost like gel cream. It's like one of the cult favorites. Everybody appreciates it. And I know that the internet kind of went hype for it. It's actually relatively expensive for what you get. Neutrogena is not one of my favorite brands, but knowing that that is a good product, I've always been trying to find dupes, and K-Beauty has pulled through. This is from Jumiso, and while it's not the best of the best, this is one of the coolest, jelliest textures that has hyaluronic acid. This is the Waterfull Hyaluronic Acid Cream, and this is so lovely. It really does kind of feel like a waterfall cream, if that makes sense. It's hydrating, it's very lightweight, it's very moist to the skin, and it doesn't doesn't have this goopy texture. It's actually quite soothing, even though it does kind of have that fluffy look to it. It's not as jelly as the Neutrogena one. It's slightly more viscous, I would say, but it is so nice and it coats the skin so well without being overly sticky and without making the skin itchy or making it feel like it's drying you out. The packaging is also sneakingly, suspiciously similar. This has a bunch of filtrates, which are also probably enhancing the texture and the way this works on the skin. The first ingredient is water, our universal solvent, but that actually allows the hyaluronic acid in here to bind to the water and to bind to the other ingredients in here, so it doesn't take that moisture from your skin. We have actual hyaluronic acid in here, which is the more expensive form, but then we also have that salt form, sodium hyaluronate, and we have them blended together in this formula along with some other sugars like maltodextrin. They've also got alpha-glucanoligosaccharides. These are all great ingredients, and again, any of these sugars holds onto water, and I think that's why this cream is a little bit more plumping and a little bit more absorbable. It's because, yes, it has hyaluronic acid, but it has those other ingredients that plays well with it. This is inexpensive. K-Beauty pulled through, vegan and cruelty-free. I really like this one, but shockingly, this isn't at the top of the list yet because we have to double back to the drugstore and Yes To. I know some people hate Yes To, and hear me out, I respect that. I know that it's a fun brand to make fun of, honestly, I get it, but I genuinely love this product, and this makes my face feel so good and not stripped. This is like avocado butter for your face. Like, take vegan avocado butter. It's not greasy, it's not overly slimy, but like it coats the inside of your mouth. That is what this does to my face. It makes my face feel so good. It removes things like sunscreen really well, and it's inexpensive. It's fragrance free. It does have avocado oil in here, which may also be, you know, providing some of that benefit, but overall, this is an excellent drugstore available fragrance free option for a hyaluronic acid cleanser. It's very creamy, so it doesn't foam up. If you do have oily skin, it might not be enough to kind of combat the oil, but if you're dry or combination, this is fantastic. And I honestly look at Yes To and I'm like, how are these in the same collection? Like, this missed the mark so hard, but this was a bullseye. So good. This is fantastic. It's available at Target. It's easy to get, but there's another inexpensive one that just came out that I really like. Now, with both of these are hyaluronic acid cleansers. And I feel like with hyaluronic acid as a cleanser, you're not really getting the benefits of hyaluronic acid. Like, when you think about it, hyaluronic acid is a humectant. It's meant to help plump the skin if it can penetrate. It's meant to help with wound healing through angiogenesis, basically making new little blood vessels. It's supposed to support the skin. And when you have hyaluronic acid in a leave-on product that sits on top of or goes slightly into the epidermis, has a chance to do that. But with cleansers, it doesn't really have a chance to go super deep or to do the work. So hyaluronic acid cleansers are more feel good in the moment, use the ingredient without committing to it. But that is why, after discussing these, we get to the really good stuff. Now, I do have to give the Inkey List a standing ovation. This hyaluronic acid cleanser is new, but it is so good. And if you have oily skin, this is great. It doesn't strip, it does hydrate, but it doesn't leave you with that buttery kind of soft feel that this one does. This one definitely kind of coats the skin and nourishes it, whereas this one just leaves you clean without being overly squeaky. This cleanser specifically has hydrolyzed sodium hyaluronate as well as sodium hyaluronate. So the hydrolyzed or kind of cut up little pieces of the actual larger molecule as well as the salt form. And overall, you're not getting the major benefits of hyaluronic acid with this, but it is a good product. And if you're like, oh, I've heard the hype around hyaluronic acid, I want to try it. It hasn't really worked for me in serums, or I feel much better with my moisturizers and I don't really want it as a serum, but I still want it in my routine, that is where this comes in. And I feel like this is one of my favorite cleansers from the Inkey List. My favorite has to be the salicylic acid cleanser or the oat cleanser, but this is kind of like a double cleanse in its own little bottle. This is a really solid choice for someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of money and wants to play with hyaluronic acid. And then we start to get to the hyaluronic acid gods. The products that are literally humectants to my wallet. Like, they exist and the money just gets sucked over, right? The way hyaluronic acid is supposed to work with water in our skin. These products are so good. The formulas are phenomenal. And these are the products that put all of these other ones to shame. This was one of the first ones that I ever tried from K-Beauty. This is from Isntree. And I thought this was the best thing since sliced bread when I tried it, not knowing that there's like 4 or 5 others that are even better. This is inexpensive. It is absorbable. It doesn't pill up. It is lightweight. And this is the hyaluronic acid water essence. This This has 8 types of hyaluronic acid, and this is still a phenomenal choice. If you want an inexpensive hyaluronic acid that works well with just about anything you use it with, doesn't leave you feeling irritated, then this is it. I originally got this from Stylevana. I then repurchased it from Amazon. I've gotten it like 6 different times. I love this so much. And as you can see, it's kind of this white creamy essence, and it has those 8 different forms of hyaluronic acid. So it has the high molecular weight that kind of sits on top of the skin, the low molecular weight that gets slightly deeper into that epidermis. It holds on to moisture that the actual formula provides, and overall it's fragrance free and it's silky and it's absorbable, and my skin just loves it. K-Beauty did something right here. This also has oat in it, so there are other ingredients in here that are probably making this an even more luxurious experience. But for the price, Isntree nailed it on the head. Like hammer, bam, right into my pores, like bam, get in my skin. This is absorbable, it's lightweight, and I actually feel and see differences when I use this. Now, this was my first introduction to K-Beauty hyaluronic acid, but recently Glow Recipe came out with something that I didn't want to love. I kind of wanted to hate this just because I really wasn't the biggest fan of their niacinamide dewdrop cream, but Glow Recipe really did it for me. This is the Glow Recipe Plum Hyaluronic Serum, and this is really expensive, but really, really good. If you are looking for a plumping hyaluronic acid serum, oh, my hands are greasy now. Got it. This one is so good, and this actually feels bouncy on your skin. It absorbs, and then it actually does what it says it will for the rest of the day. That's another thing about hyaluronic acid that people online just don't talk about. Hyaluronic acid has a very short half-life. We're talking 6 to 8 hours in skincare product. That means if you apply hyaluronic acid for those humectant properties, in 6 to 8 hours, you gotta go back in. And that's probably why, you know, some of these products from like the Inky list, like they're good, but they don't blow me away. Whereas the way that these and some of these next ones are formulated, they did something right where you apply it once in the beginning of the day and it lasts the entire way through. And again, I think that has something to do with the other ingredients inside of these formulas. But man, did they do something right? And yes, this includes Glow Recipe. Hyaluronic Plump Cream. I actually don't feel like this is a hyaluronic cream. This has more squalane oil and caprylic triglyceride and eggplant than it does hyaluronic acid. I think they named the cream wrong, but whatever. The actual Plump serum is hyaluronic acid, and it is so good. Similar to this Isntree one, this has different weights of hyaluronic acid, so low, medium, and high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, but this also has a lot of plum extract. It has, I believe, kakadu plum. It has a lot of these ingredients that have antioxidants. And do you see how nice, just like happy this is? This reminds me of like Hello Kitty in a product. Like if you could imagine Hello Kitty grows up and like uses Glossier, that is the vibes that this gives me. I love everything about this. It is so absorbable, it is so nice and lightweight, and it just makes my skin happy. The one caveat to this that I do want to point out is that this does contain fragrance, which for some people they're not going to love. I don't hate fragrance in products. Not all fragrance is created equal. This one I find to be very lightweight. It's not overpowering. It's definitely not comparable to their watermelon, but it's just this lightweight, barely there, kind of plump, and it makes my skin go. They really hit the nail on the head with this, but I will say this is not the best of the best because it gets better. This right here is what La Mer wishes they could be, but it's a fourth of the cost. It's a Hyaluronic Sea Serum that comes from the coast of California, and this is $88, so it's not cheap. But compared to La Mer, it is much cheaper. And when you look at the ingredients, yes, this is a hyaluronic acid sea serum, but it has a lot of those other ingredients that are really nourishing to skin as well. This is from Osea, and it has 2 different forms of hyaluronic acid at 2 different molecular weights, but it's also got seaweed in it from the California coastline as well as snow mushroom. I don't believe that Osea plays music or gives like an LED rave show to their skincare products the way that La Mer claims to, but I also don't think that they need to because this is much less expensive and it works so well. If you could imagine ocean snail mucin without the snail mucin, like it really reminds me of a snail mucin product, the way it hydrates, the way it's kind of gelatinous, but it still absorbs into the skin. This is so good, but it's completely vegan and cruelty free. And again, I think that a lot of the benefits that I'm getting from this product actually come from the fact that there are other ingredients in here. There are some of these seaweed extracts and the snow mushroom that is really doing a lot for the skin. But in addition to those 2 forms of hyaluronic acid, this actually hydrates and it actually plumps the skin. This absorbs and it feels so good. This almost reminds me of that cactus serum. There's a Wamisa cactus serum that almost has this gelatinous mucus-like texture. And I know that sounds gross, but the mucus-like texture is actually really good on the skin. On my oiliest days, I don't like to use this on my T-zone, but kind kind of on my jawline or in some of the areas that I am a little bit more dry. I really, really love this. And this is just a beautiful formula to put into your routine, especially if you're looking for some antioxidant protection. This works really well under sunscreen, which yes, you know we're gonna talk about, but not just yet. I will say, this is amazing. I love what they stand for. I love that it's glass packaging and made in California, but it's also $88. That's expensive. But you know what's not? The one that comes next. It was actually really hard. I really felt like these were neck and neck because the way these both absorb are really good, but based on the price point, Vichy pulled through. Post-filming, editing, working Cassandra here with a huge confusion to admit. You know that cruelty-free products are extremely important to me, and I have been told multiple times that Vichy is cruelty-free. I have emails to prove this. They're saying that they're cruelty-free. Other people are confirming it. Yet, when I Google it, it says that they are not cruelty-free. They're saying that they made changes in 2022, which is why I went out and I tried this product. But now as I look into it further, I don't know the truth. And the hard part about being cruelty-free is that there is no legal term of cruelty-free. But for me, I want to put my money where my morals are. I don't want to test products on animals. I do not want to contribute to the cruelty of others, especially when it's not needed or necessary. So at this time, I don't know if I should take this product out or leave it in and just put an emoji over it. Like, I don't know what to do. I didn't use the brand in the past because I thought they weren't cruelty-free, but then I started testing them because I thought they were. Basically, IR confusion. I'm asking you for help, and if you could help me get to the bottom of this, I would appreciate. So as I continue to do my research, please enjoy the video and comment with any information that is reliable that you have. Thank you. Vichy is one of those brands I almost avoid talking about because I feel like they're so overdone. Same with CeraVe. Like, there are some brands that dermatologists, especially the ones that I've worked with, like, they're just constantly going off about. And I'm like, okay, we know that they're good. I don't want to hear it anymore. You know, it's like, you know that it's good. There's not a lot that's new. It's solid. We're good. Like, let it go. Vichy is one of those brands that is tried and true. They've been around for so many years and they're just good, solid products. And I know that. And I feel like I almost get fatigued by it until my skin gets tired of being lackluster and dull. Vichy pulled through. This is from Ulta. It is inexpensive. It is lightweight. And oh my God, does this absorb well. This is probably the best absorbing hyaluronic acid serum out of all of these. It is simple, it is effective, it only has 11 ingredients, and it is fragrance free. It has a formula that is stabilized, so it actually gives that hyaluronic acid some other moisture to bind to, and then it draws it into the skin. Like, this is what we've actually been waiting for and wanting from a hyaluronic acid serum. This one specifically is the Vichy Mineral 89 Fortifying and Boosting Daily Skin Booster. Fortifying and Hydrating Daily Skin Booster. God, say that 5 times fast. But it's hyaluronic acid in that inexpensive form of sodium hyaluronate that is blended with no fragrance with other hydrating ingredients like water and glycerin, and it just soaks into the skin so well. It doesn't overly pill up. It doesn't make your skin feel goopy. It doesn't make you feel suffocated the way the It Cosmetics one did. It doesn't make me literally like red and like nearly bleed the way that the Catrice one does. And honestly, I was really having a hard time thinking like, is this better than the Glow Recipe one? Is this better than the Osea one? But for the price, for the fact that it is just basic and fragrance free, Vichy, you impress me. You impress me. This is $19 at Ulta Beauty. Now, while this is fantastic, you can use it alone, you can use it with other products, you can layer it into your routine. It's a nice glass bottle. And while that is fantastic, there is one hyaluronic acid product that is better. Do you know where we're going with this? I think you know where we're going with this. SPF is your BFF. And Isntree is kind of the master of hyaluronic acid when it comes to K-beauty, in my opinion. Again, they have this serum, but they have a whole bunch of other hyaluronic acid products that are great, but literally nothing beats this watery sun gel. Mwah! This is like a hydrated hyaluronic cumulonimbus kiss for my epidermis and my dead keratinocytes. I freaking love this so much, and this gives you that James Welsh glow. Like, this is going to make you glowy. If you're oily, be aware of that. But boy, when I am looking to do the do, this is what gives it to me. Now, this is the hyaluronic acid watery sun gel. It's an SPF 50. It does have 8 different types of hyaluronic acid, and it is fantastic. However, they also have other sunscreens that are mineral that just didn't make the mark. So just make sure that you're actually looking at the right one. This is so good. It is very lightweight. It is just luxurious on the skin. And this is an organic / chemical formula, so please be aware of that. But it's also flashback free. It doesn't leave you white or purple or gray or kind of pasty. It absorbs so well into the skin. And then the hyaluronic acid in here, the entire formula is actually doing hydrating work. So yes, this is a sunscreen, but you could also just think of this as a really good skin soothing serum that happens to protect you from the sun. This is one of those products that for people who hate sunscreen, I recommend it to them because it doesn't feel like a sunscreen and it's inexpensive. I know that it's sold at like a bunch of different retailers. It depends on where you get it. I usually get mine from CreddyThink on Amazon, or I'll get mine from Stylevana. I think Wishtrend also has Isntree, but overall, this is fantastic. It's an SPF 50 and SPF is your BFF, and hyaluronic acid can be your BFF if you're using it properly in a routine, but there's a lot of bullshit and a lot of drying and a lot of irritation that most people don't tell you about. And these are some of the best and some of the worst to take the guesswork out of your routine. I hope this helps and you are welcome. Always remember to be beautiful both inside and out, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye. I'm gonna go wash this off now. Look at how nasty. I'm just gonna use this. All right, bye.